So, we'll call to order tonight's Committee of the Whole for the Auburn City Council meeting for June the 20th, 2023. City Council should have the minutes from the June the 6th Committee of the Whole. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a move to approve?
So move. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes are approved. Questions on tonight's agenda for our Development Services Executive Director, filling in admirably, Scott Cummins. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Cummins?
Well, I do have a question, and it came up in the packet meeting, and that was whether, I don't know how we need to go about having some type of presentation for the Martin Luther King streetscape that they are doing now. And so I wanted to see, could we get that on the agenda sometime in July to have some type of presentation?
Yes, I spoke to the city manager about that, and that when she gets back, we'll get with you and work on a schedule for something.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, anyone else? Mr. Cummings, anything for the City Council?
I have nothing.
Okay, is there a move to adjourn?
So move.
All right, we'll adjourn, and we'll get started in about 3.5 minutes. We'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for June the 20th, 2023. Welcome to everybody that's joining us tonight, and also everybody that's joining us by radio and WANI, and certainly through our streaming services. The roll call, Lindsay?
Adams,
Here.
Koblenz,
Here.
Dawson,
Here.
Griswold,
Here.
Mormon,
Here.
Parsons,
Here.
Taylor,
Here.
Witten. Here. And
Here. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Just a couple of announcements I want to make before we get started. Well, before I do that, I want to say during the committee of the whole, we had no actions or activity. I want to congratulate Ms. Richardson and the Auburn Tennis Center for being recognized as a premier facility. And what we were given Friday said that there's only 5 of those facilities in the state of Alabama. So congratulations to you and your team for that recognition. Thank you for everything that you're doing. I want to remind everybody that the great race is this Sunday. So if you want to get downtown, just know there's going to be a lot of old cars there most of the day, and it should be a lot of fun and very interesting. You'll be have the opportunity to walk around and see these old cars and the people that are driving these cars, and it'll be an interesting event for our community, and we certainly look forward to hosting those people. Juneteenth was great over the weekend. I'm going to let Ms. Taylor speak to it, but I just want to tell her thank you for your organization, your committee's organization, certainly all the city staff that helped make that happen. I thought the park looked great, and certainly thank all the people who supported you, and it was a great event. I do think next year, instead of giving away T-shirts, you need to give away umbrellas. So anyway,
Great
but it was
idea.
a good time. The hot dogs were good. It was a good time out there. Congratulations for that. And I want to remind everyone that our next meeting is on July the 11th. July the 4th is on a Tuesday night. And if you're in town, we look forward to seeing you at the fireworks show. But our next meeting will be on the 11th, and we'll meet on the 11th and the 18th next month, which will certainly be an unusual schedule for the city council. All right. Any other comments from the council? Ms. Taylor, I'll turn that over to you.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be long, but I do want to thank some people that actually made Juneteenth when I tell you, joyous occasion, especially the 2 days in Auburn. I give Opelika their credit, but I'm going to give Auburn all of their credit. So I want to just say thank you to Mayor Anders for the proclamation, and for Griswold and Parsons for being in attendance. And I know the other council member, maybe y'all had other things to do, but I just want to thank y'all, and I want to just appreciate the fact that I have so much support when it comes down to Juneteenth. Now, I'm fixing to start on my list. Okay, I also want to give a big shout out to Auburn Parks and Recreation. Becky, thank you for your staff and everything that they did to make it a good occasion. Everything was clean at Kiesel Park. And I want you to also let your attendant, Joe, know that he did an outstanding job. He was always there. He was ready to put chairs out, tables out, whatever we needed him to do. And he assists with helping to clean up. He just did his part. I think okay, it was Joe. Okay, I didn't want to give somebody else the credit. So I just want to thank everybody from Parks and Recreation that played their part. I also want to thank the Auburn Police Department, not only for being out there yesterday and helping out, but they also was very, very generous and very nice to the public at the parade. The police department, actually, we had some officers that actually led the parade. And we had one in the back of the parade, and they blocked off the streets, and they made sure everything was in order. So I just want to thank the Auburn Police Department, I guess Public Safety, for their job in just being there and, keeping everything under control. I want to also thank all the staff from the city of Auburn, because I know everybody probably had to play a part in it. So I don't know what your part was, but I thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that goes to all the city staff. Okay, the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. I just, sometimes I just really get a little teary-eyed because when I call on Anna, she's always there and she's always just, what do you need? We got you this year. Again, you don't have to worry about us. So Anna, thank you, and thank your staff for being such great supporters of Juneteenth. I want to thank Auburn Tourism. I don't know if somebody's here from the tourism, but they provided all the T-shirts that we were able to give away. They provided over 500. They provided 500 T-shirts for me to give out to the public, and they had their name and logos on them. They had a Juneteenth logo on the back, and those T-shirts. They gave us some last year, and I saw people with those T-shirts on again this year, and all 500 T-shirts actually went, and people were still calling me about T-shirts. So if you're not there to get a T-shirt, once they gone, okay? I want to thank the Auburn Housing Authority. Sharon, she plays her role. She makes sure that we have things that we need, including food and whatever, tables, tents, and all of that. She's always just, very inspirational with Juneteenth. The Church of the Highlands. If there's anybody in here from the Church of the Highlands, they step up, they bring all the watermelon that you can eat. They bring water. I mean, your thirst, I'm glad the bathrooms were working out there because watermelon and water together. So I want to thank the Church of Highlands. I want to thank the Megas Sci-Fi, the Opelika, and Auburn Juneteenth, both committees. They got together. They made sure that we had everything they needed and everything. I want to let everybody know that this year, Auburn University came along and they helped us out. The Auburn University women basketball team was out there. They put up all these tables. They put up all the chairs. They toted water. And we're talking about women, y'all. I'm talking about the women basketball team. They did everything, and they had a good time because if you see the video, they danced, and they really had a good time. So, and we had the Auburn University Delta Sigma Theta. They were there, the NAACP. And I just want to thank the entire community, family, friends, everybody that showed up and made the 2 days in Auburn a joyous occasion. So I'm done.
Good.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move ahead. I received an email this afternoon that our member of Auburn University that usually communicates to us is not going to be able to be with us tonight. So we'll go ahead and move towards citizens' communications on tonight's agenda items. You'd like to talk to the city council about anything on tonight's agenda, this will be your time to come forward, and we'd ask that you give us your name and address for the record. Anyone? Okay, we'll move ahead. City managers' communications.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First item tonight is a board announcement. The Green Space Advisory Board has 2 vacancies. Terms begin August 8th, 2023, and end on August 7th, 2027. Appointments will be at your July 18th, 2023 meeting. There are 2 incumbents. One is already indicated that they will not reapply or seek reappointment, and we have not heard back from the others of yet.
Good. Thank you for sharing that information.
Yes. Next item is consideration of the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yes, please. I'd like to remove 8C, that's 8 Charlie, 8D1, 8, that's Delta 1, and 8D5, please. D5.
Okay. Anyone else? No. Okay, we'll move forward with 8C.
8C is a business license penalty waiver request for GFL Solid Waste Southeast LLC.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Mr. Griswold?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I noticed in the packet is a form that's a city-generated form, but it doesn't say anywhere on the form the basis for the request. It says in the memo that it was simply because a late payment. But I think it'd be beneficial, I know it'd be beneficial to me, if we had more information on the form as to why they're going through this process. You know, was it an accounting error? Was it something that the city does that makes it difficult for them to complete their requirements? Is it a change of personnel or a change in, in their bookkeeping system or whatever? I know it would be beneficial to me to have that additional information. Talked to Megan about it. She said that the reason can't be made public because the petitioner hasn't agreed for that information to be made public. But at the same time, I assume that the staff was made aware of the reason. I assume that. But anyway, I would propose that the council consider a request that the form provide more information for in the future. I do not have a problem with this particular agenda item this evening, but that's something I wanted to bring to council's attention.
Okay. Scott, could you give us or have Latrice give us a background on how this came into place? I know this is about 10 years old,
Yes.
This policy, and when it was determined, what the council was thinking and why it was done this way. Just some basic information.
I'll let Latrice Mose, Revenue Manager, give us an overview of the process.
Okay. All right. Councilman Griswold, you are correct. We are aware of the reasoning for the late penalty being assessed. About 10 years ago, the council approved a one-time courtesy waiver for all businesses. And that one-time courtesy waiver could be for any reason. And they didn't want to name a specific reason because then we'd have to go through and figure out, does this meet, does that meet? There's already a stipulation in the state code that says you can't waive penalties unless reasonable cause exists or the city council or the governing body approves it. So the city decided that the governing body's approval would come for any particular reason, one time within a 3-year period. And that way you don't have to pick and choose what that reason is. But any penalties over $1,000 would have to still come before the city council. And the city council would have to make a determination as to whether reasonable cause was the reason. And if reasonable cause existed or the taxpayer asserted reasonable cause, that would be brought before the city council at that time. And that would not count towards that one-time penalty waiver for the taxpayer. So if a taxpayer comes to us and requests a penalty waiver of $1,000, it's because the owner was seriously ill within 10 days of the business tax being due. That's reasonable cause according to the state law, and that penalty can be waived. If that same taxpayer came back 6 months later and had a penalty for just forgetting to file the tax, that qualifies as a one-time penalty waiver. So when we have a penalty waiver that's just a courtesy waiver, that's what we present, just the courtesy waiver, and no other information was given at that time because the council didn't want to know, or I'm not going to speak for them, but that's what the intent was, for whatever reason it was. It didn't have to meet the reasonable cause.
Okay, so this form, this city-generated form is about 10 years old, based on that policy, I assume?
Yes.
Again, okay, and I understand that public disclosure of some of the things backing up this may not be something that's desirable. But is that information available through the city manager to the finance department for council members, perhaps one-on-one?
I would have to defer to Megan for that, if that's what she wanted to do. I don't know.
Okay. All right. That's what I would prefer, is to have some more insight into why we're waiving this penalty, because I know people expect the taxes to be paid on time. And I know people that collect my taxes are expected to be paid on time. And have to have a pretty good reason for it to be otherwise. I believe Sonny has something else to say on this.
Just a couple of points, if I may ask them, just for clarification. We use the term one time, and then we use the term every 3 years. I assume those are consistent. So it's one time every 3 years that you don't have to have a reason. Is that the way I'm reading that?
Yes, sir, that's what's in the city code. One time within a 3-year period, you don't have to have a reason. You can ask for a penalty to be waived.
Okay. Well, I won't second guess that. And Councilman Griswold did a great job of posing the issue. And I guess I'm a little confused that we would enact such a, I love these guys. I called them up. I just chatted with them to find out what they did. They're dumpster people, and they provide a great service in the Auburn community, and I'm glad we have them here, and I'm glad we have a policy that can forgive this. But it just seems strange that once every 3 years we can't talk about it, and they could effectively have a good reason once every 3 years, but they don't have to give one. But I just wish that we knew a little bit more, like Councilman Griswold said. And I appreciate their business record. I think it's been very good, and probably is spotless. I don't really know, but thank you for the clarification on that.
So we are not waiving the business license fee or the interest, only the penalty portion.
Yes, that's correct, only the penalty.
So, and I hear what you're saying. So now you're talking about within 3 years each penalty to waive, within 3 years, okay? So the first 3 years, you can waive the first penalty. And then 3 years later, you can waive the other penalty. In between time, if they get a second penalty within that, in those 3 years, then what happens then?
It does not meet the qualifications for a one-time penalty waiver.
Okay, so
Then we assess the situation to see if it falls within the category of reasonable cause.
okay,
And that's a serious illness of the owner within 10 days of the taxes being due, or natural disaster, just things like that, yeah. But it's laid out in the state code as to what reasonable cause is.
for the one time.
No,
No.
that would be within that 3-year period. If there is a one-time waiver and they came back within 3 years, then that would be evaluated on reasonable cause. Would that be presented with the case if it came to council?
If it was over $1,000, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That was my question.
That
Thank
would
you.
be laid out, because then it would be outside of what the council has already established as a courtesy waiver. Now it must meet reasonable cause, and we have to present it as reasonable cause. And the taxpayer would be made aware that all of that will have to go before the city council.
Scott, would the staff characterize this policy as something that's been taken advantage of or been abused over the last decade since it's been instituted?
Not to my knowledge. We've not heard anything negative towards that. There's not a lot of these that come to you. Things do happen with, people's planning, and for whatever reason, this could come about. And, again, they did meet their requirements to pay within 90 days, I think. Yes.
Yes.
So they did meet the requirements to pay within 90 days, paid the interest and the license fees. And then with that, they were just requesting the waiver, which is granted by the code.
The policy is they have to request the waiver within 90 days of receiving the penalty.
Yes.
So,
Is
but
there a
they
lot
have
of-
paid.
Is there a lot of precedence of them coming back after a 3-year period and asking for a waiver again?
No, there's not. There's not. Are there some? Yes, but there's not a lot that will ask. But you have a handful that are habitual late payers, and they'll ask and will state you don't meet the qualifications. You've had a one-time waiver within 3 years, and it's not allowed for another waiver within that time frame.
But after the 3 years, is it a lot of precedence of people wanting to come back and ask for another waiver?
Not really, no. I mean, it may happen every 6 years. We've gone back and we'd see people that, oh, yeah, they did have one, but that was 7 years ago, that was 5 years ago. And prior to this being enacted, we had a no penalty waiver there was none whatsoever except for reasonable cause laid out by the state code. And we had a lot of businesses asking, city manager or council people, why can't I get my business license waived? So there was a request to allow just a one-time waiver.
If this company came back after the 3-year period, it would be within our purview to know if they've had a waiver before.
It would be, we could say that, you could ask that question.
We could know that if we
I
wanted
mean,
to know.
you could ask that question, sure. We wouldn't tell you unless it was within the 3 years.
Okay.
And just to be clear, and so everyone's clear on it listening tonight, we're only waiving the penalty. They paid their taxes, they're caught up, they paid the interest rate, or whatever, all that's, the penalty's the only thing we're waiving.
That is correct.
I see no problem with that at all, 'cause I don't like paying taxes, and I feel for our businesses here in town, they have a tough time, and they need some help. It's only the waiver, it's not the tax, they paid their taxes.
In
So,
the 3-year period.
I mean, you can't beat a dead horse with so much, so.
Latrice, can you tell us, give an estimate, how many of these have we looked at over the last year, 2 years?
That are over $1,000?
Yes, that have come before this council and we have looked to extend this
We
waiver
did it
to.
in September, and prior to that, maybe one or two. During COVID, we had,
Sure,
you know, a
absolutely.
lot
That was
of
an
bans.
unusual time.
That was we had a lot of penalties for those, but we may have had 3 or 4,
Okay,
if that, but no.
sure. You know, to me, when I think about this, I hate to personalize it, but I do. My family were small business owners in this town for a while, and my wife is a small business owner as we speak. The CFOs of those businesses were not educated CPAs. They were just part of the family who was trusted with keeping up with all the money and the income and the expenses of the business. And sometimes are busy, and I'm sure that my mother and my grandmother made mistakes along the way. It would sadden to me unless somebody was a chronic challenge for the city for us to expose their weaknesses as a way of understanding the totality of their issue. Obviously, if it becomes a chronic problem and we're having to manage that account and that business and that relationship, that's a different story. But for a one time, for somebody who is grinding, trying to make a living, busy at certain times of the year, maybe something slips past them. I don't know. I have a hard time exposing their faults. That's just me.
I don't think you can legally get into that tie. I don't care if you are a council person. I don't know that you can legally know that. I wouldn't want to know it personally.
To summarize that, I'm comfortable with what we have in place. I believe it's serving us the right way. It's helping us be assistant to the small businesses in this community that might need a little grace, and but it also holds them accountable and doesn't allow them to perpetuate a bad habit.
I would echo that as well. I mean, it's small business friendly is what we strive to be, any business friendly in this community. I don't think it's appropriate for us to expose those reasons, and I certainly feel like it was not something that's abused, at all. So I certainly don't see a reason for us to dig into those reasons for any reason.
Anyone else on the council have a thought? Okay. If I could just have a show of, who's comfortable with the current policy that we are now seeing from the city? Who's current?
Okay with it.
Okay,
I just wanted to
that's fine.
find out how to get more information.
I see where you're
Okay,
coming from.
all right.
If it's not on the form, that's fine. If we can get it through the city manager, that's fine. But I'm
That's
just
a
trying to
question we
figure-
can ask.
Trying to figure out the path. If we need more info, how do we get it? That's all.
We can certainly ask that question. I don't know the legalities of that or not, but we can
Okay.
ask that question. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. All right. 8D1.
I would like to withdraw my request to have that pulled off the consent agenda. I'm okay with it as is.
So. You got that, Lindsay? Okay, all right, 8D1.
No, 8D5 next.
8D5?
Yeah.
Oh, 8D1, that's what you request, I'm sorry, Kelly, my bad. 8D5, my apologies.
Okay.
All right.
I'm just curious to know what the amount of the offset
Hold
will
on,
be.
hold on, did we get a motion in a second? Let's get a motion in a second on 8D5.
Move for approval.
All right,
Second.
all right,
You want me to read it first?
why don't you go ahead and read it too, that'd be great. 8D5.
Okay.
Item 8D5 is for Twin Oaks Environmental, a contract with Twin Oaks Environmental for H.C. Morgan Water Pollution Control Facility Stream Bank Stabilization Project in the amount of $62,711.13.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second, Mr. Griswold.
Thank you. Just a question. We've got two separate grants that potentially can go towards this. I'm just wondering how much are the grants and how much of an offset is to the city? We have 62,000 on the contract. What are we really on the hook for?
So I'll defer to Matt Dunn for Water Resource Management Department. He has been involved in this project from the early stages. So, Matt?
Okay. Yeah, the Councilman Griswold, the $62,000 purchase is our matching fund, or a portion of our matching fund associated with that project. I don't have the exact grant amount with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, the five-star grant that was approved by council back in March. I'm wanting to say we received around $35,000 to $38,000 on that grant. This is just a project we've had for a number of years, and this project in the grant application is being done as part of our match associated with that. It is a budgeted project, so.
Okay, so the city is going to pay 62,700
That's correct.
towards this contract.
That's correct.
And then the two grants will provide money over and above that.
Yes, those grants are being used to facilitate some other things at the plant, some bioretention, stormwater
Okay.
bioretention areas, some.
So they don't go towards this contract?
That's correct, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want to know.
Good. Okay, any other questions? Please.
Just a little memory jog here. We spoke in favor of this project not that long ago, but I can't remember all the details. But we're reclaiming land and we're planting trees, and I can't remember everything.
That's correct. Essentially, when the plant was constructed back in the early 80s, there was a stream that was rerouted along the southern perimeter of the property to facilitate construction of that plant. And over the years, particularly the last decade, with some of the intense rain events we've had, we've experienced a good bit of erosion along that stream to the point that it's potentially compromising the integrity of some of the infrastructure, some of the tanks and things that are near that stream on the backside of the plant. So this restoration will be part of that, but you are correct. It's part of a larger project where we're doing some stormwater bioretention, some wildflower planting, some other things down at the plant.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Dunn. All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Ordinances.
Under ordinances, we have two traffic control signs and devices to present to you tonight. Item 9A1 is establishing one stop sign at Glenwood Farm Subdivision Phase 2. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward to vote on this evening? Any comments or questions? Hearing none, Lindsay, roll call?
Adams,
Yes.
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am?
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
and
Yes.
Item 9A2 is establishing two stop signs and one 25-mile-per-hour sign at Hunters Hill Subdivision. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward and vote on this evening? Any comments or questions? All right, Lindsay, roll call?
Koblenz,
Yes, ma'am.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am?
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Yes.
Item 9B is an annexation request from Trey Ham and Mary Ham, approximately 4.05 acres. The property is located on the north side of Lee Road 146, that is Moores Mill Road, west of Society Hill Road and east of State Drive. The Planning Commission recommended approval at its June 8th meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with the vote on this evening? Okay, any comments or questions?
I do have a question.
Please.
In looking at the property that's being requested on the map and that's dotted line, it appears to be within a piece of property that would still remain in the county. Is that owned by the same, property owners?
Pull it up. Kevin, can you address that, please?
Yes. Yes, it is actually a separate parcel. It has since been subdivided from what is shown on the aerial map with that proximity map. It's since been subdivided from that, so it's separate ownership. A home has recently been constructed there as well. So it is separate ownership from the other kind of properties that have been carved out of.
Okay, so, because it's a unique carving out of
Yes.
property from that lot. And so the pieces that are still within the county of that one, I guess, what we're seeing as one lot, one tract, you're saying, is it staying within the county? Is it?
Yes, so the, I'll say kind of parcel to the north, kind of runs along the left side and to the north, and then the one to the south will remain in the county.
And do we know why they're remaining in the county?
We do not know. This is, the owner of this particular parcel is the one who came forward for annexation. I don't believe we've had any discussion with, any of these individual property owners that immediately abut them.
Okay. And the reason I'm hypersensitive about this is because this is creating county islands, and we're experiencing that to great lengths with very strong unintended consequences of billboards popping up. And so but you're telling me that these are separate property owners at this time? Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Please.
On the chart of the annexation request, it's showing that both the east and the west are rural with COD overlay, but the chart also shows this unique cutout that Councilwoman Witten was referring to. So who's the owner of that little white strip between rural and the subject property?
So the property kind of to the left, that small strip that you had mentioned, and then also the property to the north.
Yep.
That is separate ownership from this parcel that's requesting annexation. That is, looks like Kimball is the last name of that.
Okay, I guess my question then is, why is the east and west property owners on the surrounding zoning use not saying outside the city limits instead of saying rural with COD overlay?
So the one to the left, obviously it's a small sliver there, it certainly is. That parcel that's immediately to the left and then wraps around to the north was more so reflected in north on the map, and then just across that little kind of finger that runs down to the Mooresville right of way. All of that property is within the city, and then immediately to the right is also within the city.
Okay. So that little sliver on the left side of the chart on this Ham property annexation request map is in the county,
Correct.
and were the owners of that little sliver consulted about this annexation?
Yes, they would have received notice, just like any other annexation.
Okay, so this chart here is a little off than the,
Yes, we should have corrected that with to the west.
okay, that's what had me confused, yeah. Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Lindsay, the roll call?
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am?
Mormon,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Taylor,
Yes.
Benton,
I'm gonna make a comment, yes, because it's a separate property owner, but had this been the same property owner for that entire piece, I would be voting no.
Adams,
Yes.
Oblence,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes. Resolutions.
And on the resolutions, item 10A1 is a contract with General Maintenance Contractors of East Alabama Incorporated for our FY 2023 fiber expansion project in the amount of $377,622.75.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A2 is with Temple, a contract with Temple Incorporated for management services for the city's traffic control center in the amount of $253,196.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any comments or questions from the council? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's all the items we have on the agenda.
Okay. This time we'll have citizens open forum. You have 3 minutes to talk to the council about anything. And please give us your name and address for the record, and please address your comments to the council members.
Susan Bolt, 1188 East University Drive. The American Revolutionary War raged from 1775 through 1783, with the colonists fighting and dying for their freedoms, rights, and independence from Great Britain. Some of those freedoms included political freedom to establish self-governance, economic freedom to control their own trade and commerce, individual liberties such as freedom of speech, religion, and assembly, equality and justice to treat all individuals fairly, and property rights. The colonists believed that their land, possessions, and resources should be secure from unjust seizures or confiscations by the British authorities. The colonists believed that these fundamental rights should be protected and that they should not be subject to arbitrary acts by the British government. The Continental Congress, comprised of representatives from the colonies, adopted the Declaration of Independence to formally express their grievances against overreaching British rule and to declare their intention to form an independent nation. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776, and we now celebrate the 4th of July to commemorate the establishment of our free and independent nation. These items were later enshrined in the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The city of Auburn will celebrate the 4th of July on Tuesday. I hope you plan to attend. When you feel the percussion from the fireworks exploding, I hope you really feel it as it penetrates your body. It represents the death of someone who died fighting for our freedoms. Then enjoy the colorful explosion of celebration. Watch as the embers fall to the earth and extinguish. Then notice the smoke trails and the sky weep as it cries for the freedoms that 5 of you gave back to the overreaching Auburn City government with your vote on Ordinance 3288. Feel the next explosion. Someone else died fighting for a freedom you casually voted away from a subset of people based on your emotion. Watch the sky weep. Death by 1,000 cuts. Watch and reflect as part of my property rights and freedoms were extinguished by your actions. A celebration of our country's freedom? Well, what about me and the others that you stole property rights from? Death by 1,000 cuts. At a prior meeting, Councilman Griswold referenced that this council and the prior council had chosen to allow public comments. The comment landed as a veiled threat that you could and would take that away. My response to that is death by 1,000 cuts. Abraham Lincoln is quoted as saying, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve not for themselves." I certainly agree with that statement.
Who'll be next?
Good evening. Oh, sorry. Good evening. My name is William Fowler. Live at 1425 Clovebrook, 1425 Clovebrook, Auburn, Alabama. The reason why I'm up is the biggest thing. Everybody likes Buc-ee's. Yay. Way through Buc-ee's. It's that Buc-ee's second entrance, not the one with the light. It's the one with the one you turn right into off the interstate, and the one that's kind of you can go right, but you can't turn right back into up the Cox Road. Problem is, I would like to have at least one or two officers sit down there and watch how many people, or at least an undercover officer sit down there and watch how many people try to turn left. Because I'm not saying nothing bad for Mr. Mayor, please sit down there and watch how many people fly down there off the interstate and almost get hit because I sat there in Bucky's parking lot, watched 90 people almost come to close call, and we need to do something. I know they had a weird camera over there across the street that's owned by Sunbelt, whoever was sitting over there, and I wish we just had to focus on that because I don't want anybody to get hurt because I know these big, large charter buses come in from out of town and, with 400 people rolling in with charter buses, you want one of those charter buses coming out of town and get smashed because we just had June 19th and people out of town, I saw one charter bus from Huntsville and you don't want people killed and I don't want to see that on my city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We don't want anybody to be hurt. We appreciate you being our eyes and ears.
Mayor, if I may.
Please, Tom.
I really appreciate those comments because I noticed it myself. And I believe we're looking into that. I believe Megan's already looking into that problem.
We are looking into that. We're going to add some devices that'll help discourage that action.
Big problem. Thank you.
Who'll be next?
Robert Wilkins, 261 Denson Drive, Auburn, Alabama. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I wanted to make two corrections on the last meeting. I accidentally substituted Mayor Anders for City Manager Megan McGowan's name, saying he was making $1 million every 4 years plus an estimated $200,000 in benefits. Sorry, Mayor. Megan gets that kind of a deal, not you.
I'm well aware.
Okay, but I made that mistake. I said I wanted to also increase our city grocery sales tax by 1%. I meant to say decrease like the state of Alabama is. So please don't raise our taxes. What is the purpose of the e-packets? My assumption is to give an advanced copy with supported materials and the agenda to the city council and its citizens. Mayor, after I speak, I'd like to have answers to 3 questions. How does the agenda get developed and who is involved? What are the procedures for council members in putting an item on the agenda? Explain how Auburn citizens are signed up for the e-packs again. I have observed when there's a touchy situation on the agenda, like giving the city manager a $35,000 raise, the agenda is brief with no support material. Let's be adults. Let's give all the information. What freedom is all about? This past May the 16th council meeting, we Auburn citizens were reprimanded and scolded by Councilman Griswold. Quote, according to state law, we have no requirements for people to come up with unless it's for a public hearing. Prior council and this council provided 2 opportunities, unquote. According to Alabama state law, does it require the city to pass ordinance 3288 short-term rentals by causing hardship for 151 Auburn families and taking away their constitutional rights and their property rights? According to law, does it require the city of Auburn to pay 20 employees higher salaries than Governor Ivey? According to Alabama law, does it require the city to destroy the small-town quaintness of Auburn by building these massive, ugly concrete buildings? I can go on, but the state of Alabama has given this council much power. With great power comes great responsibilities. A quote by William Lamb in 1819, but recently used by Peter Parker's Uncle Ben in Spider-Man. I think the council should spend time with its constituents in getting their opinion, not just during the election process, okay? You might learn a lot. Thank you.
Who'll be next?
Good evening, Council. Ty Torbert, 900 West Glen Avenue. So I want to talk to y'all tonight about something that has really been on my heart a lot lately. It's that Target downtown. And it's red and crimson colors in our beautiful downtown Auburn. If y'all have seen online, there is a viral post of a Whataburger in downtown Tuscaloosa that was required to remove its orange for being in the downtown area. I wonder if it is a possibility to do the same here with the Target, with it resembling, as we all are aware of, our biggest rival's colors. raise your hand if you like, not Alabama, Auburn. Okay. Let's show Auburn some love. You know what I'm saying? Us students, we love Auburn. I'm going to tell you right now, I love Auburn. Grew up an Auburn fan my whole life, and it just makes me sad walking downtown, going to get some ice cream, going to the yard, the milkshake, all these small businesses. I'm not saying nothing wrong with Target. I know that's bringing a lot of tax dollars. That's great for our economy, but it's just those colors. That red, that crimson, just makes me shiver every time I walk by it. But I do also want to thank y'all because I did notice that the last time I came here was actually in November. And y'all did actually repave the street on Toomer Street. And I do really want to thank y'all, and I appreciate y'all's work with that. You know, y'all are getting berated left and right. What about some appreciation for our wonderful representatives? And I do just want to leave y'all with, you know, imagine all that they went viral in Tuscaloosa. It can happen here. Mayor Anders standing up for the Auburn people, not letting that crimson color take over our city. Imagine those headlines. You know, Kay Ivy's she's about to not be up for re-election.
You give a great pep talk.
But that's all I have. I just want to say those colors. I don't know if y'all can do anything about it, but it'd be something nice to look into for the people of Auburn. Thank you.
Thank you. War Eagle. Who'll be next?
Let that guy go again.
Actually, on that note, before the next person come up, is there anything, because I sort of kind of felt that way too, believe me. I sort of kind of felt that way. It's good that you was able to say it. But it's Target's logo. We brought Target here.
It's
So-
not to debate our young fan out here in the audience. It's bright red. It's probably more of a Georgia color than it is an Alabama color, but it is their.
But it's,
I don't disagree.
it just ain't Auburn.
I don't disagree. To answer Ms. Taylor's question, there was probably certainly, I'm guessing, some discussions, and Target has some policies there. Mr. Howard, I don't know if he could answer that or not.
I think you're right, and I think Kevin can handle that. Something that did come up in discussion, I know.
I will say, it did certainly come up in discussion. At one point, an iteration even had a little bit more red than is currently out there. We certainly tried to talk them down of that a little bit, but, end of the day, that is something that they did want to have to kind of flag their brand out there. I won't get into some of the pettiness out in West Alabama, but, I think that everyone can enjoy the Target here no matter what the colors are.
Okay.
I'm sure they're going to have a lot of Auburn gear and a lot of toilet paper. So.
And an alcohol beverage license after tonight. Yes, ma'am, you're next.
Martha Shamp, 307 Camellia Drive. Millions of Americans have displayed their utter disgust and boycotted the store Target. Target created revolting LGBT baby clothes advertising perversion. They wanted to lure children into unnatural vice. Parents of decency revolted. Bud Light received a gigantic backlash and boycott against their freakish hero, a homosexual male named Dylan Mulvaney. His frivolous antics, dancing in pink dresses as he pretends to be female, have disgusted Bud Light's customer base. Anheuser-Busch has lost billions. We see the American majority detests the Bud Light pervert and trans vulgarity and all its demons. Transgender insanity has been rebuffed. The Auburn Public Library needs to Bud Light their transgender books, their raunchy, degrading sexual books in the young adult and graphics book section. I challenge this council to find a way to remove this trash from the library. Bud Light these offensive books. It's not rocket science. It's time to Bud Light the library's repulsive spectacle of bad books. Please protect the children. Please find a way. Thank you.
I find it interesting that we made Bud Light a verb and that we are using an alcohol analogy when we're discussing children. That's my comment on that.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close citizen communications.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment, please?
Please.
A couple of references tonight of my comments from last week, or last council meeting. I viewed my words not as a veiled threat or as a scolding. I viewed my words as a good news story, that this council and the previous council have taken the steps to ensure the public has an opportunity to speak to the council. So if you took that as scolding or as a veiled threat, my apologies for that. Certainly not the intent, but that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I do, Mr. Cummings, the agenda is developed with specific guidelines. Can you walk through that very quickly?
It is, and staff prepares the agenda based on the plan that is approved by the council with our biennial budget. And the items that we propose on here are in line with us being able to fund and support the city services and provide the products and goods and services that we provide. So, as we go through and do our planning, on a month-to-month basis and looking ahead, I mean, these items are coming in, these contracts are coming in. So there is quite a bit of effort that goes into from each department to roll the items up through the executive directors to the city manager for recommendation of what goes on the agenda. And again, a lot of that is focused on based on the timing to implement basically the strategic plan you pass with the biennial budgets.
And a council member can't just put an item on the agenda. We go through a fairly, some would say, laborious process to get approval, consent from this council, consensus rather, to then put it on the agenda to then vote on.
That is correct, and in your policies, you establish that ability to be able to debate an item or consider an item to go on the agenda at a committee of the whole meeting, so that discussion can be public, and then once you've decided to add that item to the agenda, we will add that item for the following meeting.
And then lastly, any citizen can sign up to receive an e-notification through e-notifier to receive the e-packets.
Yes, they can, and it's they can subscribe online, and I can't give the highlights. David could probably help us with that, but there's a process by which you go online and you can subscribe and get all kinds of information that we publish.
Great, thank you.
Mayor, if I may.
Please, Chief.
In all fairness to Councilman Griswold, I remember that meeting and he was responding to something somebody else said, and I did not take it as a threat. I took it exactly what he said. It was congratulating the council for allowing people to speak, and in no way did I take that he wanted to stop that at all. So I think it's a bit unfair to take that next step and say that he was threatening to remove that trying to have that removed from our agenda each time. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Chief.
Anyone else? Okay, so move to adjourn?
So maybe.
We're adjourned. We'll see you July 11th.